This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Excited to have back Craig Quaglia. Yes, he's our LMT Myofascial Trigger Point Therapist and so much more. Based out of Forest Park, Illinois. Welcome back today. Please introduce yourself to everyone, darling.
My name is Craig Quaglia from Chicago. Happy New Year. It's a crazy cold. You can't decide what it wants to be here. Winter, summer, we don't know anymore.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being here. And you are Craig. There you go. So let's get started. What did you want to talk about for today?
Okay, so when I first started out in this business, it was, factory workers that I would see the most. But today, everything's computer sitting and causing all kinds of problems. So today we're going to go over the top 8 injuries as a result of being in front of computers all day. And none of them are good. The one thing I definitely would like to emphasize anybody who's listening today is when you begin to feel the symptoms of these things, do not ignore them. We do not want them to become chronic. And as we go through this, you're going to understand why. So the number one that fortunately I don't see in my practice, but the research shows is carpal tunnel syndrome. So, excuse me, I forgot I had that in my mouth. This has become the number one, and it is often due to improper computer usage and ergonomics. Carpal tunnel begins in a soft kind of way with numbness, tingling, burning in the fingers, hand, especially the thumb and index fingers and middle fingers, okay? Compression we talked about this before, the median nerve. We showed a few weeks back in the thoracic outlet syndrome, where it starts up into here, goes down into your arm, passing through the carpal tunnel. So you have a band right here, yes. Sometimes we do what we can do. As you can see, if you look to the right side of the hand, the dark part, that's where the nerve's being compressed. So you end up with pain there. What happens is over time, the pain becomes so bad that the lost time, employees start to lose a lot of time. How I usually know that this is carpal tunnel is people will pick things up and start dropping them, all right? Then that's one of the ways I know immediately that they're in big trouble. So what happens is this comes on slowly. People starts to notice it. They start to try to live with it. And then what happens is it becomes worse. This is one thing you do not want to know, to ignore or try to accommodate. Cost ranges from $1,000. People start out with wrist braces. Unfortunately, that does help, but what it does is it also moves the injury up and down the arm into other places. Over time, they become unable to work due to lack of being able to recover from it. Job loss from this is significant. 10 to 15% of the people with severe carpal tunnel actually lose their job. So this becomes life-changing. Again, you want to stay aware of this and deal with it in the early aspects of it. We're always going to talk about massage, myo reliefs, that. Yeah, this is all important to be doing, but again, it's in the beginning. We want to restore the circulation. We want to create mobility again. More importantly, we want to show you how to prevent it or at least manage it and intervene at an early stage. Another way to prevent is the proper ergonomics. This is very individual for people because everybody has a different body type, different arm lengths. You want to pay attention to keyboards and mice. Take regular breaks to stretch, shake your hands out, do things like that. Maintain a neutral wrist position, and definitely do not want to have excessive pressure from leaning forward, especially when you get tired and fatigued. Now, image number 2, second one is de Quervain's tendinitis. Yeah, I love that one. All right, so notice that the aching's all along the thumb side of the hand. And unfortunately, this could go all the way back up into the shoulder, into the deep shoulder girdle. Can also be partially as a result of scalene nerve entrapment. We talked about this a couple of weeks back. Thoracic outlet syndrome of the brachial plexus, our good friend, the brachial plexus. We take care of it, it takes care of us. If we don't, it lets us know. Lost time varies from days to weeks of missed work. Treatment starts out around $300. When you start seeing somebody like me, if we can get to it early, it's only going to stop at $300. It's not going to take long to get it under control. But if you don't see somebody like me, then we're talking thousands of dollars and including surgery costs. Income loss, reduce productivity, absence impacts income. We hate when things impact our income. Job loss is rare. I don't know about that, but if chronic, it's about 5%. And that's a pretty high number. Therapeutic relief and hands-on therapies, of course, reduce that, making sure you choose a therapist that works in the correct area, not just because you have pain in the wrists there, but to go all the way back up into the neck to where the scalenes are and thoracic outlet syndrome starts. Heat and cold are useful here. Self-care, definitely self-care is a big part of it. You have to look at it as doing it on a daily basis, sometimes several times a day, in order to not let it progress and you end up losing money or ending up with surgery. Use of ergonomic tools, ensure proper hand positioning is very important. Avoid repetitive thumb movements or strain. So what's important about that is not to only pay attention on the computer, as you see it when we get into the other image, also texting becomes part of the problem. So you're doing one thing that makes it worse, and then you're doing another that makes it even worse yet. Regular massages, mild relief, and of course, self-care, self-care, self-care. I know it's redundant, but it's important. Our old friend, thoracic outlet syndrome. We talked about this before. Numbness, tingling. Yeah, that's my favorite image. So you can see if you look up there, the yellow area is the nerves that are being compressed in various places that can cause this pain. This can be really life-changing pain. It's tingling, weakness in the arm, hands, neck. Sometimes people feel pain in their chest, making them think that they're possibly having a heart attack. That'll scare the hell out of you, that one. In rare cases, I've had to call paramedics in, even though I was pretty sure it wasn't that, not my call. Fortunately, it wasn't. It turned out to be the thoracic outlet syndrome. Usually takes weeks of therapy. You end up losing time from work, which costs you money. It's really important at that point that I show you how to self-treat this on a daily basis, because whatever action you're doing, you're going to continue to do on a daily basis. That's going to activate it. You want to be able to reverse those responses. Cost of treatment, $2,000 to $10,000. We're not talking chicken fee here. We're talking some serious money and surgery. Recovery from surgery can be substantial, long, and the challenge here is that you don't get into the system where you're doing disability claims, because what that means is you have delayed treatment, you're going from doctor to doctor, you're waiting for appointments, and you're waiting to get okays. And to get treated, all that takes time, money, and lost income. And meanwhile, you just sit there and suffer until the system finally works for you. Job loss is definitely possible, impairs work performance, and it's around 15%. That's a significant number. So now, on top of all the money going out to deal with it, you've lost your job. That's not a happy place to be. Therapeutic relief techniques, relax shoulder, neck muscles, improve blood flow, reduce nerve compression, self-care, self-care, self-care. Certainly myofascial release, trigger point therapy, those are all great tools. But again, you want to really get into this and react to it early in the early stages. People tend to wait too long. And then on top of it, when they come in, they think you're going to be able to take care of it in one shot. It usually takes 3 to 5 sessions. Preventative action, practice good posture. really difficult thing to do for a whole day. As the day goes on and you're working with a computer or the mouse, things are, yeah, I like that. You can go to that second one. You can see
Yeah, it
where
was
the pain
sticking.
is going
Sorry.
down. Yeah, that's okay. It worked fine. You can see how the pain goes all the way up, in this case, up into the hand, but it's actually down. And you can see all that kind of pain. That's terrible
Yeah.
pain to have to deal with on a daily basis. Um, Avoid shoulder elevation. Don't, as you get tension throughout the day, your shoulders start to raise up. You get the Frankenstein look. Take regular breaks, perform shoulder and neck stretches. And this is one way where you start to take control of it. You can either do the self-care and take care of it and manage it, or it will manage you and cost you a lot more money. So the next thing we're going to talk about, next image, please, is number 4, back strain and sprain. Now that may seem like that may seem like an odd thing to say, a sprain. After all, you're sitting, but the your body was definitely designed to move. So how do you get a back strain or sprain? You're actually overusing the muscles more by not moving. And then when you go to move later on, maybe you go lift something or you make a sudden movement in
Mm-hmm.
a position and boom, you're off to the races with pain. So you end up with lower back pain, stiffness, and then worse, you progress to muscle spasms. Pain can be local, pinpoint in the lower back. Generally speaking, it is, but often it refers into the hips and legs. When it does that, it becomes confusing to the person suffering. Who do you go see? Is it a back pain? Is it a hip pain? Is it lower back? Is it leg pain? Usually there's a synergistic effect going on there. Degeneration of the lumbar and sacral disc leads to something called stenosis, which is the beginning of the decline of the bony structures in and around that area. And usually it's very hard to reverse that. So you want to, again, deal with this stuff as quickly as you can as it presents itself. And that's part of why we go through all the trouble to educate people, because a lot of times they try to tough it out or they think it's going to get better, especially guys. We always think everything's going to get better. We could tough it out. Um, Other things that can impact it are a fall or a car accident, which could take it from acute to chronic really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Causes mostly from sitting at computers 8 hours or more a day. Then you get out of the house, go sit in the car, drive home, go sit some more and do texting. So if you're going to continue to sit, then you're going to continue to need to know how to do the self-care techniques that we talk about. Can impact your posture and breathing. Lost time really becomes rapid when it comes to back pain. Could be days to over a month in severe cases. That's a lot of income lost, a lot of money going out. Surgery costs 500 to 5,000 depending on the extent of the surgery, physical therapy, medical injections, medications. Surgery should be a last resort. The success for back surgeries are not very good, so you really want to try to do everything else before you make that decision. Income loss, obviously significant, especially for physically demanding or sedentary jobs. The actual job loss, surprisingly, I'm not sure I agree with this, but chronic pain job loss is about 5%. Therapeutic relief, massage, myofascial trigger point area, doing these things on a regular basis, especially on a daily basis, maybe in some cases 2, 3 times a day, really has a huge impact on allowing you to maintain and control it and not having it become life-changing pain and, of course, surgeries. Use supportive chairs when you sit, maintain correct posture, and even maintaining a correct posture takes a lot of effort in your body. It makes you feel tired at the end. Frequent breaks, stretch and change position, get up, move around, do things like that. Maybe stretch forward. It's always good that you go to Google and Google in stretches and movement that you can do while sitting at the desk during the day. All right. Neck strain. So, neck strain. Well, you can see a great example there. He's tired, his head's forward, his eyesight's being impacted. We're going to get into that shortly. He's not a happy camper at this point. Maybe he's stressed out. Pain, stiffness, headaches, referred pain to shoulders, impacts cervical rotation. It becomes difficult to turn your head, to look forward, to look up. It can interrupt sleep at night. It often results in degenerating and bulging and ruptured discs. Add to that to pain surgery. And again, you want to try
Mm-hmm.
to avoid that at all costs. I've not really seen a good one with cervical. There's usually pain left over. Sitting at the desk, poor posture. His posture at that point is not good. His arms are not good. And he's using a laptop, which is, you're not looking straight ahead, you're looking down the whole entire day. Structural damage occurs over time and it becomes profound. The lost time starts to add up days to week. Income loss starts to pile up. The job loss becomes rare, but it's still 3 to 5%. You're still losing time over the pain. Who wants to be in pain anyway? Of course, therapeutic relief. We're talking about all the other things that we've talked about before. Self-care, but chiropractic is very useful at this point too. Preventative actions, keep screens at eye level. This is why I went back to a desktop computer. Practice 20-20-20 rule. 20-20 rule is every 20 minutes you look 20 feet away for 20 seconds. Actually, I would do that more often if it was me, and it is me during the day. Do neck and shoulder stretches regularly. It's a great way to break up the um, pain that's beginning and it increases blood flow. So when we're talking about eye strain,
Don't have
leave it
eye
there.
strain.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah. That's fine right there. Okay. So it's you end up with headaches, blurred vision, dry eyes is becoming a really big issue, especially the drier your eyes are, the harder it is for your focus. So you start doing things like this and going back like this and, you know, moving around in ways that are putting pressure and causing problems in your back, especially of your neck, upper back and neck. You're compensating for poor vision. You have cervical fatigue. Time loss is usually long, short term. However, frequent discomfort impairs productivity. You start out by seeing an eye doctor, which costs $100 to $500 at that point, and then later on it starts to pile up because you're going for the other issues, like it affects your focus and your thinking inefficiencies. Job loss from eye strain is, unlikely. It's more likely to happen because of the neck and the upper back issues. So after you see a primary eye care physician, maybe you do physical therapy, associated neck and shoulder muscle tension. Eye wash to lubricate eyes is important. It should be done several times a day. You can Google again, blue light blockers, learn about the screen that you're working with, how you can control and prevent the lighting, especially from LED lights, from impacting your eyes. So reduce the glare, do the 20-20-20 we
Mm-hmm.
talked, 20 minutes, 20 seconds, 20 feet away, adjust the monitor brightness, and maybe consider getting special glasses that you can look at the computer with. Finally, we're going to talk about repetitive strain injury. This is what happens when you've overused your hand, your shoulder, your arm. So we're talking about repetitive, doing the same thing over and over again. That would be the hand one in the blue. So that one there. Now we're showing the pain down there, but that pain could go all the way back up and down your hand. And this one's really bad because it usually isn't just one thing involved. It recruits muscles from all over your arm, shoulder, and the shoulder girdle. The weakness spreads into the fingers, hands, wrists, and arms, and it becomes like a dull, deep, achy thing. And unfortunately, when it gets to that point, it doesn't go away rapidly. It stays. It can interfere with sleep at night. It progresses from acute to chronic, and you can end up with grip weakness. So you start maybe not necessarily dropping things, but you don't have strength to do things that you normally could do, like maybe lift a pan off of a stove, kind of a thing. Months to days, depending on the severity. Cost starts at 1,000. Notice this one starts higher because it's more involved. For therapy, adjustments, usually you have to bring in several people, the chiropractor, the PT. So it's really important when you start to notice this one, you jump on it early. Income loss significant if untreated. Days missed from work, around 10%. Therapeutic relief. Of course, again, we talk about the self-care, the myofascial release, massage therapy. But again, it always comes down to how do we get you to intervene on your pain at the early stages. So when we come in, we're not putting out a major fire. Stretches help. Take regular breaks. Use ergonomic equipment to minimize strain. Strengthen and stretch muscles involved in repetitive tasks. Okay. Now we're going to go to the back one, the final one, scoliosis. This is becoming a big problem. Yeah. I mean, just take a second and look at that. How could it not impact your life? How could it not impact the different systems of your body? So this starts out as back pain and neck pain and muscle fatigue. And most everybody by the time they get to 50 or 60 has a little bit of a scoliosis going on. Some people are born with it, so that's a whole different problem there. But scoliosis can become progressive, may need medical intervention. So again, you want to pay attention to this stuff in the early stages. Postural and structural deviations can involve PT. Certainly, once you get that diagnosis, I would like to be able to step in the early stages because we want to stop this from progressing. We want to stop it from impacting the organs, your brain, even your heart and breathing. Lost time, weeks during corrective therapies. I mean, this is a big one. Cost of treatment starts at 2,000 for braces or up to 20,000 for rehab. So this is a really important thing to jump on and pay attention to. Income loss, moderate to significant. Job loss is possible because how can you sit, let alone even stand at a desk all day and do computer work without being in pain? Sometimes it really requires a group effort. Bring in the PTs, the doctors, myofascial trigger point therapy. Again, the self-care is really important because you're just trying to prevent it from getting worse as well as reversing it. But sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
sad to say, the best you can do is prevent it from getting worse. The best we can do working with you is to prevent it from getting worse. Maintain good seated posture with ergonomic furniture. Really important, especially the doctor, when you're working with a doctor or PT, they may prescribe using cushions or some things of that sort or nature. Strengthen the core muscles, especially after you've been treated. You want to really strengthen the muscles that are out of balance. Be mindful of posture, especially during long hours of the computer. Take breaks
Yeah.
often. You almost don't have a choice at that point with this one. So we're going to finish off with some quick ergonomic tips about to do this. And again, sometimes this requires you to sit down and go to Google and to do a little legwork for yourself. Your body type is different than my body type. So the things I could tell you may not work well for you, but work well for me. So it's important that you do a little legwork. Maintain neutral posture all throughout the
Oh,
day.
oh, you caught me there. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, I know, but
plus
I
I'm
can
leaning into
understand.
the screen. I'm trying to.
Yeah, I know. Yes. Monitor placement is important. That's always important. Keyboard and mouse. It's amazing the number of keyboards out that they have now that can really be useful and help you. Chair adjustment, having the proper chair, having your feet flat on the floor, keeping your wrists straight and parallel over the uh, day. So,
Oh,
uh, loosen things up, get the blood flow increased again, just so your body doesn't totally shut down. Works are placed within easy reach. Keyboard we talked about, stand monitors, we've talked about that. Ergonomic chair, wrist supports, gel-filled wrist supports, you can get those online. Anything that helps support that. If you're Craig Quaglia, myofascial trigger point therapist, 708-524-8812. CraigQuagliaTriggerPoint.com is the website. So good to see you. Happy New Year. We're off to the races.
I know we sure are. Thank you again
Yes.
for today. Enjoy the
Okay.
day. Bye.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.